Salut à tous, salut Romain.
Salut Thomas.
Bon, on a pas mal de chance aujourd'hui parce qu'on est dans un endroit assez spécial. Hein. On est dans le service course à Krapovic en Slovénie. Explique-nous comment ça se prononce exactement ici.
Akrapovic.
D'accord, Akrapovic.
Ce que je te propose, c'est qu'on commence par le musée, un lieu assez exceptionnel où tu vas pouvoir avoir des machines réunies sous un seul toit qu'il est vraiment très difficile de trouver ailleurs parce qu'en fait, c'est des machines notamment qui sont championnes du monde, comme derrière toi, la machine de Lorenzo. Comme tu peux le voir, déjà plus de 150 titres de champion du monde en Akrapovic, exactement 164.
D'accord.
Et le tout dernier que l'on a fêté cette année, c'est Pecco Bagnaia sur la Ducati. Et donc on va pouvoir vous montrer un petit peu différentes machines d'exception, parce que ça, ce sont des vrais moteurs de MotoGP, les prototypes.
Très bien, merci.
Je t'en prie.
So, after all the street products, we finally go to the core of the racing department. Who are you, sir?
Hi, my name is Mattia.
Nice to meet you, Mattia.
You too.
Can you explain us what you're doing?
Yes, so I'm modeling an exhaust muffler for a MotoGP bike. Here you see an end muffler. It's we also call it a megaphone.
Yes.
Because we don't need to worry about the noise limit. And at the end, we always install a protective mesh, which is very important because this mesh prevents some debris or some stones to enter into the exhaust. We work with a 3D model.
Yes.
It's beneficial if you can rotate the part in every way. That's the way to prevent any mistakes or errors. We can see that everything is in perfect alignment, that all the measurements are correct, and also all of our, let's say, partners, they use 3D modeling. So this is a tool. Basically without this tool you cannot work in the MotoGP, on a MotoGP level.
That's impressive, that's impressive. Thank you very much, Mattia. Don't work too hard. Ça caille ici.
Ouais, ça y est, on sent bien l'hiver dorénavant.
Bon, alors on est où là?
Alors là, c'est la partie atelier prototype. Donc là, tu rentres dans l'endroit où vont être vraiment fabriqués à la main les échappements MotoGP, notamment. La partie uniquement compétition.
Tu me disais que c'était une gratification pour les meilleurs soudeurs de la série qui étaient qualifiés quelque part pour la course.
Oui, c'est ça en fait. On a les meilleurs, ceux qui sont vraiment les plus fins, qui apportent le plus de soins, détails, précision. Et ils ont la chance ensuite de pouvoir, comme ça, de la production, être amenés à travailler sur les échappements qui vont notamment être utilisés, entre autres, par Johan Zarco et Fabio Quartararo.
Ok, super. Can you tell me how it's going on, how it's organized, what you are trying to do?
Okay, so this is our dyno workshop where we do all the testing of the racing bikes that we test in the company. It's one of the many dynos, but this is more or less exclusively used for the racing purposes, for the racing department. Usually we start with a 3D model, or on the other way, we start with a bike. We receive a bike from the manufacturer, we build the prototypes on the bike, and then test it on the dyno, select proper specification, final configuration, and there are then different ways how to get to the product. Either we make jigs by the hand, like a prototype way, or we scan the parts, make the 3D model and create the jigs from the 3D model and then build the product there.
Once your prototype exhaust is assembled, how many times do you have to dyno it, more or less, in order to have satisfying results? In an average, is like you have to do it 20 times, 200 times? What is that?
Okay, it depends on the project,
Yes.
but in the terms of GP bike, we have a very compact session of testing because we cannot do it ourselves. We must do it with the engineers and technicians from the manufacturer. So we do it in a short time span of, let's say, 2 to 3 days. But beforehand, in a few weeks before the test, we prepare all the prototype and the parts. during the testing, we see to which direction we want to go, and we can also make a new part, modify the prepared prototypes, and so on. And usually we do about between 500 and 600 pulls of dyno runs in these days, but between 8 and 10 pulls are made and used to create an average, and then we compare these averages of each specification to determine which is better.
Okay, because you're not only working on top power, but also the way the engine delivers the power on all the rev range?
Correct. We do almost the whole range, because not the whole range is used in the racetrack, but let's say 75% of the RPM range.
Okay.
And this is the range that we test on the dyno itself.
In terms of cooling, those prototypes make a lot of power, so it needs more cooling than a street bike. Do you have to wait longer in between runs, or do you have to use extremely short sessions, or is it comfortable to work on the dyno?
Actually, the cooling capacity of these bikes is sufficient that we can also use our dyno without any stoppings in between to do the cooling.
Okay.
The wind that is coming from the air funnel is about 130 kilometers maximum, so this usually is sufficient to cool the bikes during the pulse.
Now we have to say that the bikes is hidden because they are prototypes, and you have like 4 MotoGP manufacturers out of the 5 working for you guys, so you have to keep the secrets of every company and make it tight for because you have all the numbers of all the bikes. Huh?
Correct, and this is the only way to be there, to be successful, and to be in this business so long. We cannot afford to go with the solutions from one to another, or to share any numbers between the competitors.
Okay. First question, simple one. What are the secrets to make the best MotoGP exhaust, gentlemen?
Lightweight, durability, the best power possible, delivery of parts.
Yeah, after service and distinguished design that is remarkable on our side, and attention to details.
With the HRC coming aboard, 4 of the 5 bike manufacturers in MotoGP are now Krapovic technical partners. Only Aprilia works with a different manufacturer called SC. How proud are you of this achievement?
Actually very, because this is a historic moment for us, for sure. You know, to be able to work with such a renewed and partner at the end, and of course to understand and learn new things as well during this path. And we are really looking forward for this new adventure, let me say.
This also means trust in our company, that so many different manufacturers trust us with the design, with the delivery, with the projects, prototypes. I don't know if there has ever been a similar situation where so many companies turn to one company to produce the parts.
Yeah, and on the other side is a big responsibility also on our side, you know, to not just to let me say take on board additional partner, but to take good care of everybody in the same level.
I met Igor Krapovic in Mugello in 2014. At the time, he told me that a Krapovic exhaust required more than 100 welding points. Is it still the case, or is it different today?
I think it's still the case on the most complicated exhausts.
Yeah.
Like today we have the opportunity to see this from close up, but these are dummy exhausts. These are not actual prototypes, but it shows the technology. Can you briefly explain what we can see?
The hot gases enter the start of the exhaust on the port flange, we call it, which is casted from titanium, casted in our facility, which is behind your back. and then enters the primary tubes, which are then connected into the secondary and the exit. And on the pad, there are different devices that help to achieve more power, or let's say even better power, or more linear power, like interference tubes with different diameters, different technology of production, and one of the most important thing is joint bushes, where the parts are joined together to be able to install the exhaust on the bike. We use special coating on these bushes to prevent wear and increase the exhaust mileage and life. One of the key components that MotoGP manufacturers use is the exhaust valve. You can see here or here.
Or there.
Or there, yeah.
There, yeah.
We can see on these three pieces different generation of valves, each with their pluses and minuses, but we try to improve all the time these parts. These parts need to withstand high temperature up to 900, 1000 degrees Celsius, and when the valve closes, the pressure is increasing into, let's say, around 5 bars of pressure. The general use is to increase the engine braking effect on the corner entry. The second purpose that is possible to use is to adjust the engine response on the acceleration, but this is more difficult to achieve.
Okay. How do you manage to conceive MotoGP exhaust? Is it the manufacturer giving you all the specification and you just have to build? Or do you do the bench testing in-house, as we can see, and propose solutions to, for instance, HRC or Yamaha? How does it work?
Depends on the project and the manufacturer. With some manufacturers, we produce per the drawings, and then later on we develop. With some manufacturers, we get their ideas, we share also our ideas, it's a cooperation. We prepare prototypes and then test on our dyno, and after that we produce new drawings, new jigs, models, and so on.
Yeah, but it always also, like Miha explained, is also a room, let me say, for our input in case that they suggest something that during the test then we found out something different and suggest back and so on. So we work hand in hand in partnership with all our, let me say, partners.
Simple question, why using titanium?
Because it's light,
durable. The density of the titanium is much lower than, let's say, stainless steel, but the mechanical properties are more or less the same or even better in some cases. So it's the most appropriate in this case for this use.
What are the advantages of titanium, and what are the problems that what are the challenges that this material offers?
The biggest advantage is the lower density compared to stainless steel.
Yes.
And the problem that you arrive to is that the mechanical properties drop quite substantially with the temperature increasing. So when you go above 400 or 500 degrees Celsius, the mechanical properties are substantially lower than at room temperature. Still enough to survive the use of the MotoGP exhaust.
So far titanium is the benchmark, but is there any material that you could replace titanium in the future, because you have your own lab and you're doing some R&D on material? You have something else in sight, or so far it's just the best that you found?
So far we believe it's just the best, but we're thinking about some materials that could be used for some parts of the exhaust for the future.
Okay. 3 of your MotoGP customers have V4 engines, Honda, KTM and Ducati, and 1 has got an inline 4, which is Yamaha. How difficult it is to work with different engine concepts?
I would say for production-wise, the most complicated is the inline 4. The V4 has more separate components, and you can produce, let's say, per partes. With the inline 4, it's usually more compact design, which demands more precision and a better tooling.
Okay.
More precise tooling.
Okay. On the V4, I saw on the KTM and the Ducati longer pipes. What is the advantage of this solution when they see it? Because I think Ducati and KTM stuck with it last year, end of season. What are they looking for with longer pipes, and what can you achieve with that?
You can improve the power delivery. This is the main target of the long pipes.
Aerodynamics are more and more important in MotoGP. Are your exhausts also conceived to be efficient in an aerodynamic way? I'm thinking about the M1, for instance, the M1 exhaust, which is really short and you can hardly see from the side. And finally, do you have to do wind tunnel in order to integrate this part to the MotoGP bike?
I think this is taken into consideration in line with the general design of the bike.
Okay.
Manufacturers do this when they conceive the general approach or basic design of the fairing and the bike itself. And they take into account where the exhaust will be and how it will, in general, how it will look.
What is the weight of a full MotoGP exhaust system, like this one, for instance? How will it be roughly?
Depends on the year and the bike and so on, but let's say between 2 and 5 kilos.
Okay. How many horsepower or torque can you gain with an exhaust that is perfectly matching the engine? I'm in a general idea, once again, because we cannot be specific.
So when you can gain 1% of the top power, you can be very satisfied with your result.
Okay, yeah, but if they choose you, it is also really worth it for them to win just 1%.
Yes.
How many hours on the dyno to successfully develop one MotoGP exhaust?
Difficult to answer because it's not just the dyno hours. It's all the preparation and work of many people before.
Yes.
To arrive to the specification. Let's say the dyno test is sort of just a validation of your ideas and work of many people that were doing the work in the weeks before the test.
Okay, so like if we ask a question with a different angle, how many months of work for a full team in order to be, or weeks, to be from the moment you start the project to the moment that you are happy with the result?
I would say about 10 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
Of the complete process.
And we saw, like on the group picture that we did, there's quite a lot of people, like there's 15 people working in the race department as a whole?
Correct. And most of the people is actually involved in the design and actual administration of the projects. There are also other people that actually produce the exhausts and are employed by the workshop. And so the 15 is not, let's say, a total number that is involved.
These are just the people that are directly involved in cooperation with the partner, but the rest we use the complete company, production for certain parts, casting facility, and so on, prototype production. So if we would set in how many people is involved, probably
50 at least, I'd say.
At least 100 people probably. If you count in consideration the complete process of production and so on.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. It's more complex than it looks, as always. What is the maximum mileage you can use for an exhaust in MotoGP?
The minimum is about, let's say, that should withstand is about 2,000 kilometers.
Okay.
But then manufacturers many times use the race exhaust from the racetrack, use it also on the test team or on the dyno or something like this, so it can survive even up to 6,000–7,000 kilometers.
Okay, okay. what are the problems that can occur for in the life of a MotoGP exhaust? Vibration that breaks the exhaust, a hole in the tube after a small crash, or gravel being projected by another tire, moisture, stones swallowed by the engine, other things. What are you fighting against?
The most would be the thermodynamical stress that is really high on these engines.
Yes.
So if the design is not 100%, if the welding is not 100%, if the production of the tubes is not 100%, most of the time you will arrive at some cracking or something like this. One of the components that prevents the ingress of the stones is the mesh, and this is for the protection of the engine, not the exhaust itself.
You can show it so that people understand what we are talking about.
So the mesh that protects the ingress of the stones in case of the crash.
Yeah,
but then can be also some hidden, let me say, small cracks because of some crash, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe they inspect and see nothing, and later on can occur as a problem on some components that are mounted on the chassis, and stuff like this. So many times also depends on the strategy.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Sometimes the manufacturers develop new engine strategies, new ignition strategies, shift strategies, many stuff. And if they go too aggressive, they can cause the conditions in the exhaust that titanium cannot survive anymore.
Okay, because it's pressure, or it's speed of the gases inside the tube, or
mostly it's pressure in combination with temperature.
Okay.
Let's say in case of really aggressive shift strategies, you get very high pressure waves into the exhaust.
Like, can you be a bit more specific? How many bars, or in the region of because it looks quite strong in itself.
Yeah, but we can't be so specific in this case. But you get a lot of increased vibrations that can then cause the cracks in the exhaust.
Okay. Fair enough.
One of the, let's say, things that were happening before was when manufacturers are highly limited with the amount of fuel, they go very lean with the combustion, and this rises the temperatures. And when you increase the temperatures of gases of continuous, the temperature of the exhaust above 750 degrees, you trespass the mechanical limit of the titanium, and this will cause cracks easily.
Okay, that's specific enough for me.
Yeah.
This insulation. This isolation in order to prevent other components near here, like for instance the shock, to overheat, for instance.
Correct. This is to prevent the flow of the heat from the exhaust to other components. Let's say, like you mentioned, shock or fuel tank. Many times also the fairing is tightly packed for aerodynamic reasons.
On the rider, no?
On the rider, you need to protect it.
Yeah, you don't want to roast the rider.
Yeah, or the fairing.
Yeah, or both. One last thing that we can see that we didn't comment on is close to the spring. The screw that we can see is for the lambda sensors. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
But this is now just cosmetically plucked.
Yeah.
We would take this out and put in the lambda sensor to control the combustion process.
Okay.
If it's not necessary, we even don't put it on, you know.
Yeah.
It's just dead weight.
Latest client, so to say, or technical partner is pretty famous, HRC, which has the reputation of doing everything in-house. We saw Kalex swing arms, but so far that was it. How proud are you to work with this legendary racing service?
Yeah, for sure is a big let me say, a big honor.
Yes.
You know, because we started our relation years ago already. You know that we are working together with them in Superbikes. We won together 8 hours and stuff like this. Colin won our first title in 2000. So coming back to the brand again is at the end a big honor. But like we explained in the beginning, big responsibility and also commitment on our side. You know that we are committed to fully, let me say, support their wishes, their ideas, and that we can also integrate all our knowledge that you saw that Miha explained many technical details, that all these benefits can be shared with them, and also we will learn some things for sure as well on this trip.
Did HRC knocked on Akrapovic's door or vice versa? Can you tell?
I think we
were going hand in hand. Yeah, you know, we were talking. For sure, starting in the Superbikes at first, you know, because you know how Japanese are. You need to earn your trust. You know, big steps are not made in any direction. You know, so you need to go step by step. So to build up the trust, to build up the trust in the technology, durability, service, which is very important, supply of goods, quality, everything what Miha explained technically was the let me say positive thing in a way to a MotoGP with this brand.
What kind of MotoGP technology can you downgrade from MotoGP to the road-going exhaust that you're selling to the customer?
Basically, I would say, from my perspective, basically what you actually see on the table.
Yeah.
You know, this is very important part. The valve, casting parts, bushes, tubes. You know, you need to understand that used parts that you see in MotoGP, the same material is used on the top level street bikes exhaust that we make, and this is the key. You know, and what is one of our goals when we come back from the races and report on the technical issues or knowledge that we have is that this goes straight to the serial production products. You know, that we transfer all this knowledge and all this experience to our colleagues in R&D. You know, that they can understand what's happening, because this is our, let me say, the fastest dyno result offering solution that is available to us through the teams that we do. So we want to bring all this knowledge to the serial production products and make them better, lighter, more enjoyable, and that's it, I believe.
Slovenia is a small country and Akrapovic used to be a small brand. How did you manage to become the world leader in MotoGP exhaust?
I think staying humble. We were always oriented to the roots, to Mr. Akrapovic. You know, me personally, I was also a racer. I know how it is. Miha is also keen motorcyclist and so on. So to stay so long in this and to see the company growing, and that you have still this passion and this wish to give and to develop, to be part of this. I think this was the key, you know, and
delivering what you promises.
Yeah, and I think it's in Slovenian mentality in general, you know, that we want to squeeze out the maximum out of our heads, and you can see also to notice this in Slovenian sportsmen and girls, you know, so small nation and achieving this kind of remarkable results in every sport or whatever we want to go. So I think that we are very dedicated, passionate, and motivated to continue this story.
It shows. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.